Hey, everybody. It is another great day on Born Again to Live, the place where we talk about, well, it's a relationship, not a religion. But here it is on Tuesday, November 4th. It is Election Day. And, we don't need to get too far into this, Eric, but I mean, a lot of people died so that you would have a right to vote. And I just think we need to honor that. God put us in community for a purpose, and we have great freedom in this country. So everybody get out there and vote, please.
Yep, and I always joke with the saying that if you don't vote, don't complain.
Yeah.
But I'm not joking in a way. I mean, like it's your God-given right, as well as you have a country that allows it. So go out and take advantage of it, because if you're complaining about the environment or what's going on in this country, change it.
Yeah.
Put somebody in there that can change that. So go ahead and vote. I vote every election. I don't skip ever, even if there's nobody I want to vote for. Sometimes I write Mickey Mouse, but
Oh, goodness.
Yeah. Like, I think get out there and do it.
Absolutely. But we're talking about today, on today's episode, we're going to talk about another sort of day on the calendar. Eric?
Yeah. I guess this is our Blues Day Tuesday, but it's a little offshoot of that.
Yeah, kind of.
So we're a little late on this, but the month of October was Pastor Appreciation Month.
Yes.
And, well, we record kind of in advance, so we kind of sort of got lost here. And it came on my attention probably the last Sunday of the month that it was Pastor Appreciation Month. And for my pastor, he was gone for half the first part of that month, and so we didn't do anything for Pastor Appreciation Month.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sitting there talking to another person in our church, and I said, "Hey, we didn't do anything. What do you want to do?" And she goes, "Well, let's pivot. We'll take the month that he wasn't here for, and we'll just say, okay, that was just a normal month, but next month is we're thankful for our pastor."
There you go.
So we're going to do a couple things throughout the month for him this month, and he's got a granddaughter coming this month, so first one. So he's going to have a really good month because we didn't forget him. It just, we're going to swing it into our own appreciation moment. So
right.
that's cool.
Like any day can be Thanksgiving, every day can be Valentine's. Like, yeah, any day can be Pastor Appreciation.
Yeah.
And honestly, it should be.
It should be. That's what we're actually going to talk about today is why we should appreciate I don't even want to call them all pastors, but the spiritual leaders or the people in our lives that are helping guide our walk with God.
Yeah.
I had some stats on a thing, but I think we're going to start with the verse that kind of made me want to talk about this, I guess. It's in Hebrews.
Yeah, it is in Hebrews chapter 13, and this is verse 17. I'm reading from my NIV per usual, but it says, "Have confidence in your leaders and submit to their authority, because they keep watch over you as those who must give an account. Do this so that their work will be a joy, not a burden, for that would be of no benefit to you."
I'm kind of like Amy when I made this outline and she looked at that verse. She's like, I had to read it again just to catch that.
Yeah.
But it's one of those verses that it just seems like you're supposed to just listen to the person in charge. But when you dive a little deeper, that part there where it's so that their work will be joy.
Right.
And not a burden.
Absolutely.
That's where I got hung up and thought, man, that's a pastor appreciation verse.
If there ever was.
Yeah, if there was ever a verse that said, like, appreciate your pastor. And so that got me thinking a whole lot about what a pastor goes through. I'm not a pastor, technically. I don't have a church. I'm not the person in charge of a church. But in the current state of religion, we have this hierarchy that we put one person at the top, and they're in charge of everything.
Mm-hmm.
And that system's not right. I mean, we'll just go start with it's not right. The Bible lays out the ecclesia, the fivefold ministry. There's so many different ways that Jesus, in his words, and God throughout the whole Bible said, not one man should be in charge.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when he set up the temple, the whole Levite tribe were to be the priest. It wasn't one main guy and then everybody else fall in line and listen to him. No.
Yeah.
And it wasn't his job to go sacrifice all the animals and do all the things. Every day it could change. Every week it could change. Our current system, we put a pastor in place, and I'll just use him as an example, Chris.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Pastor Sparky, Chris Montgomery. He's a pastor of a church now. But if he walks into that church and the church says, all right, pastor, you have everything. You're doing youth, you're doing choir, you're doing services, you're in charge of meals. You're
definitely the electrical.
definitely electrical, but you're in charge of everything.
Yeah.
You got it all. It's not going to work.
No, it's not.
That's some of the stats I had was that 71% of all pastors or clergy experience burnout at some point in their life in service, which comes from that same thing, having too many things to do or too much burden on them.
Yeah.
All pastors and clergy have a higher rate of mental problems and mental health issues than any other position.
Wow.
And in last year alone, 18% of pastors thought about suicide. That doesn't seem like a high number at 18%, but when you're talking about pastors,
that's almost 1 in 5.
Yeah, that's a high number.
That is a high number. Wow.
These stats, it just tells you that the current system's broken.
Yeah.
We're not a one-person society. We're not a one-person church. We're not going to throw that person in there and be like, all right, my hands are clean. So the fivefold ministry is what I've been really learning a lot more on, and that's a great system where you have that one shepherd, basically. And that would be the person who's teaching and maybe in the front of the mass service in the morning or whatever on a Sunday morning. But then you have the evangelist and you have the group leaders and all these other different parts that are working together. So you got your Sunday school teachers, you got your worship leaders, you got all these other people, and they're not all coming back to the pastor and going, what are we doing?
Right.
They're doing their own thing because the pastor trusts that they're called by God.
Yes.
And that's the key, is that we're guided by God first, and then you have the ability to use your own judgment.
Yeah.
I mean, I know at our church, Pastor Rob, he's awesome because he doesn't tell our worship leader, Dusty, what songs to play on a Sunday morning, but they always seem to work together because God's speaking to both parts.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they're serving the same God. They have the same spirit. So I think, if I may, maybe sometimes the problem also lies within the pastor that he or she is not willing to give up control, right? And but there are those things, and trust me, I am a recovering control freak, Eric. Like, I have a way of doing things and only my way is right. And then when people, you kind of, hey, can you help with this? Can you help with that? And then it's not done the way I would have done it. Boy, sometimes I can just spin out, but I'm learning. I'm like, nope, you know what? They took something off your plate. They alleviated some stress. Let it go. And God's going to use it. Like, God's going to use the good intention, even if it wasn't done to your exacting, specifications, Amy. And so, yeah, I think that's very important to let, the people of God and the church and those that are supporting the pastor, like, let them do it their way, even if it's not the way you would have done it. But I mean, it just, the Bible talks about that we have giftedness. And I think for one person to think that they are gifted in pastoring their very seasoned Christians, as well as talking to their brand new Christians, as well as kind of dumbing it down at a first grade level for Sunday school, and at the same time putting on this epic VBS with decorations and balloons, and like, nobody can do all of that. Like, those are very specific skill sets. And I think, that's why the Bible talks about giftedness is we waste our time when we try to step into lanes that we're really not good at.
Yeah.
And I think about Big Blue, right? Like, Christine is the queen of the kitchen.
Yep.
I can cook, but let's make no mistake. I can cook for like 3 or less people. When it comes to feeding 30 kids at a shot,
yeah.
No, I don't. I'm best at just kind of handing out drinks at that point. But Christine has this miraculous ability to scale meals to like these large numbers. And, and same with you, Eric, like, you always come up with these relevant topics that, resonate with these kids exactly where they're at and exactly where they're going, what they're dealing with in their life. But But yeah, I was going to say, you mentioned the Levites. And, I always like to check in on my Bible in a year.
Yeah.
I'm somewhere in July now. But no, this morning I was reading in Chronicles. This was a fun fact. Before David passed away, he set up a lot of stuff for the building of God's temple. So in my morning reading today, this blows my mind. He set aside 24,000 Levites to oversee the construction of the temple. Yeah. That's an insane amount of people.
Yeah.
Like, there's no general contractor here. There is 24,000 priests overseeing this. Like, that's what, half a football field or half a football stadium?
Yeah, pretty much.
That just blew my mind.
Oh, and was it, who was the one was it Nehemiah? Or whoever was, when they were rebuilding the walls and stuff of the Jerusalem after they came back from exile, he didn't say, hey, we're going to build the wall like this. He said, this is your section.
Yes.
You build this section.
Yeah.
And everybody got their section done, and because they built that stone wall in front of them, and not everybody building like together, it was you build your section, and then he's going to build his section, and you don't worry about his section because he's got it.
Yeah.
They built it in record time.
Yeah.
Because there wasn't the confusion. It was just worry about your own problem.
It's not micromanaging. And this is definitely why I think a lot of churches or denominations, they do sabbaticals. Yeah. And it makes sense, Eric, because some jobs deal with, accounting or like stocking shelves or driving trucks. This occupation is the only one other than maybe doctors, but again, they're just dealing with our physical tent. Pastors deal with the issues of the soul, and that is completely, as I've said before, a heart surgeon can fix your heart, but he can't fix your soul. That is squarely on the pastor, and that is such a heavy burden. They're dealing with the joys, like the ups of marriages and babies and baptisms, and then they are at the lowest lows of tragedy and death and illness and those burning questions, why? And they're dealing with the results of sin. And I can't even imagine, because we're called to be ministers, right? You and I are ministers, Eric, but pastors takes it to a whole nother level.
Well, and Jay Morgan always talks about this same thing, and he says everyone in the church has a job.
Mm-hmm.
And not everyone is called to be a pastor.
Right.
But you can stack chairs, and that can be your ministry.
Absolutely.
You can put mints in a bowl, and that could be your ministry. Like, there's all these different things and components to a Sunday morning worship service that the pastor shouldn't have to do.
Yeah.
But you can sweep the floors. That could be your ministry. Cleaning could be your ministry. Like, you don't have to be in front of a group of people talking to be considered a minister.
Yeah.
Or to have a ministry.
Right.
There's so many different ways that we can serve, and all of them are godly ways if you're serving to worship God.
Right. And I think, too, we forget to pray for our pastors all the time. We think about the people that are really troubled and going through a rough time. And I think we look at our pastors like they got it all together because they have the Lord. And that's true, but you can have the Lord and still be going through a storm. And so I know I forget to pray for people that are in those leadership roles myself. But I want to just sort of dig out this little verse a little bit more. But when it says having confidence in your leaders and submitting to their authority, that confidence part, right? Meaning I'm going to trust you to lead.
Yep.
So when they say, hey, we're going to do this or that for Advent or Lent or this mission trip, it is trusting them that they know what they're doing, right? And you're going to submit to their authority, even if it maybe, like me, it's not how I would have done it, right? And again, then it says, so that's that first part, right? Then because they keep watch over you as those who must give an account. And that account is to God and God alone.
Yeah.
But so they're not just pulling a power trip to make themselves feel better. They know. And boy, Jesus talks so much about people in authority and how their burden is way greater than the rest of us that just, kind of mow grass and do our own thing, right? Like pastors have such a heavier burden, but, so you can trust them because they must give an account. They're not just free for all in and can do whatever they want. And then, yes, we should do this so their work will be a joy and not a burden. And it's a benefit to us because they won't get burnout and they won't just leave the church because they feel like they're not being effective. And, I do think this is where we need to encourage them more.
Yeah.
Tell them like that was a great sermon or that really spoke to me. Or I remember sermons from decades ago and sometimes I'll bring them up. I'm like, do you remember the time you talked about the goose? And then pastor's eyes lit up like, I do. Like they don't think that it sinks in.
Yeah.
And it absolutely, we all know one word, one sentence can change a life.
Yeah.
So,
no, I mean, that's what we got to do. We got to continue to uplift and encourage. DJ loves that word, encourage.
I do too, Eric. Vitamin E.
Yeah. So, I don't know. The reason we brought this out is at Big Blue, we have a pile of pastors.
We do.
That serve on the board, that serve on the core team, that just serve.
Yeah.
Or just pray. I mean, and we do appreciate them.
We do.
I mean, it starts at the top, Steve.
Yeah.
I mean, Steve is a pastor.
Yeah.
I mean, he preaches to us all the time. And you got Pastor Sparky. And I mean, we got Mike Funkhauser on the board. We've got all these churches that support us, and DJ and Wade, and just go down the list of all these pastors, and we appreciate every one of them.
We sure do.
And we go to them for guidance. That's why they're a part of Big Blue. It's because we respect their authority. We respect their ability to talk to God enough to get ideas and to understand what we're doing. Stephen Sheetram, he's another one.
Yeah.
He's in the group. But there's all these people, Pastor Oakley, that we appreciate that they are a part of this ministry that we know is a God-given ministry. We've seen God move through this ministry. And we just kind of want to take time to say that we appreciate it. But if you're not even a part of Big Blue, if you're just out there and you're in a local church, like, show your love for your pastor and your pastor's family.
Yeah.
It could be something as simple as once a month, just cook them a Sunday dinner and send it home with them. Like, hey, here's a easy crock pot meal I made you.
Yeah.
Enjoy. Don't have to cook when you get home.
Well, and I love, because I like to be old school, just a card in the mail. It's so fun to get like a pretty colored envelope in. We can laugh about that. Yeah. It's an inside joke. But no, it's nice to get like an envelope in the mail that isn't a bill or, something far worse. But just, I'm thinking of you, loving you, praying for you, whatever. But I love to do that kind of stuff. And I don't know if I talked about this one time, but a few Christmases ago, I walked up to our, and she wasn't a pastor, but she was the worship leader, the choir director at the church where I grew up. And that Christmas Eve service was just beautiful. It was one of the first ones after COVID where the church had reopened, and there was the choir and there was special instruments, and the music at that Christmas Eve service moved me to tears. And I thought, how many people walked up to her at the end of the service and said, wow, great job? Because the thing is, she always does a great job.
Yeah.
And so I actually, when I got home later that week, I wrote her a letter or a card or something. And I just said, I don't know people show their appreciation for what you do, but you do an incredible job. And she was so touched by that simple thank you, because I do think this happens a lot, Eric. When people do their jobs well, it goes unnoticed. Yep. It's only when people do their jobs in a crappy way that everyone's complaining and groaning. So, you're not going to get a lot of accolades when you do exceptional day after day, week after week. But still, we need to recognize that. And in a moment where we're super appreciative, we need to take that time and thank them.
Yeah. We shouldn't just do a pastor appreciation on 1 month. I mean,
it should be every month.
Again, like a gift card.
Yeah.
I mean, treat your pastor and his family to a gift card to a restaurant or something once a month.
All right.
Just let them go out and not have to worry about everything else and just go.
All right. Let me ask you this, Eric. Sidebar. We know DJ is a regular listener. Thank you, my barnyard brethren. Okay. So if it's a gift card for DJ Taylor, where would you buy it from? You said you've known him your whole life. You've been friends since kids. Where would he like a gift?
He loves seafood, so it'd have to be a seafood place.
Aha. Okay.
He's a seafood guy. He really loves it.
I mean, is he like a Red Lobster kind of guy? We got to go a little like Ford's Fish Shack.
Yeah, more
thing.
of a fish.
Okay.
He's more of a fish guy than
Okay.
so. But he does. He's a seafood guy. I know he loves the barbecue too. He's like me. He likes food. So. But that's that. I mean, DJ's church does an excellent job, and he talks about how they delegate everything. I mean, it's not just DJ doing all the work, but they appreciate that man, and they do it all the time. They give him gift cards. They give him stuff in his office. He'll have gifts. He'll have. I mean, the other day he had a funeral, and people gave him flowers, and so he had them at his service on Sunday, and he's like, "Hey, y'all take these flowers because I'm going to kill them." So
yeah,
but, I mean, it was just that. Yeah, they come from a funeral, but at the same time, people were giving him gifts and appreciating who he is and what he does, and that church is really good about that.
Yeah.
Like,
well, and we got to. I mean, I have never really experienced his church until we got to do the trunk or treat, over the weekend, and that was great to see his community come out and just understanding like. This is his family, as you said. Like he's got, like it is not a church, it is a family.
And how many of those just walk up and hug that man every time?
Oh, I know. Yeah, me and DJ have a hug competition at the Hardy Bowl to see who knows more kids and who gets more hugs. But
DJ.
definitely, well, he had the home field advantage at the trunk or treat. Let's be honest. But no, I was gonna share real quick at our fall retreat that was a couple weekends ago. Sunday morning, we actually it was their pastor appreciation day at their church, but his name's Doug Lowell, and he's a pastor at God's Place. They used to be in Middletown area, and now they've moved to the old Cedar Creek Church on Mill Road in Stevens City. So anyway, 10 counselors, 14 campers. We showed up at his church at 11 o'clock service and just packed that church. And I just think he was overwhelmed. But Doug has done so much for our camp. Like he gives in big ways. He gives in little ways. He has been pastoring those kids. And, you know, it was just so cool to be able to show our appreciation for all that he's done for our camp. And I just love that. That was one of my highlights of fall retreat was being able to appreciate all that he's done. And guys, if you're looking for a church in the Stevens City area, God's Place, it is one of those places like DJ's church. You just walk in there and you have found your family.
Yep. Yeah, that's a really important thing to even if you don't have a regular church attender, but you have somebody who's feeding into your life, tell them.
Yes.
I mean, as a person who I'm not even trying to pat myself on the back because I can't reach that far, but there's a lot of times where I feel like I'm speaking in the wind, like talking to people and you're like, yeah, they're not hearing me. They're not hearing me.
Right.
But when they come back with a, hey, thank you, like it means a pile.
Yeah, it does.
Or, hey, your words really lifted me up and stuff. Like it really makes a difference in a life. And it can make you go from burnout to overjoyed in a matter of seconds. Just like, well, all this stuff is like Ecclesiastes, it's chaff in the wind. It's meaningless. And then you're like, no, like God's word's eternal, and that word is still getting to somebody, and they're appreciative of it. It's really good.
Yeah,
so it might be small things, but you can do a lot for people out there who are doing a lot of work that people don't want to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And they need weekly, daily encouragement, just like we all do. I mean, we couldn't do what we do at Big Blue if we didn't feel like we got something back. But like you've always said, Eric, when you show up and you get the hugs and the smiles, and that is always what feeds us. That every single time that says, nope, I am not wasting my time. It is not for nothing. And unfortunately, because for pastors, it's their job, and everyone's like, yeah, you're going to show up on Sunday and do your job. Like, it's never just about the job. It really is about wanting to make a difference. And, you know, we just need to go up and hug our pastors like we do our Big Blue volunteers. But
well, I tell you, my pastor gets a hug every weekend.
Nice.
Like from pretty much everybody in our congregation.
That's awesome.
He may initiate most of them because he's a hugger. Like, no, like Saturday night, we showed up to Big Blue after our core team retreat, and I had a line like 5-6 deep of people wanting a hug from Eric. And when I'm leaving, like I'm hugging these same kids, and there was one kid there. He's like, "Hey, I'm gonna miss you." I'm like, "You want a hug too?" And so, oh, man, like it really does make you feel better to get all of that. And but you don't need it to serve God, but man, it really encourages you when you're serving God to get a little bit of encouragement. So.
Well, yeah, because like this Hebrews 13, it takes it from a burden and makes it a joy. And, I feel like we make it sound easy, Eric, but I think everyone can agree. Teenagers are so tough. And, they break your heart. Like they make you laugh, they make you cry, they break your heart. Sometimes they go off and become the prodigal, and we worry about them. But so it is a hard job despite how awesome it can be sometimes. And I feel like God's just like, all right, well, I'm just going to encourage you guys along the way because the harvest is big.
Yep.
So we got a lot of work to do.
All right. Well, we're really long on the day, but that was a really good day.
Absolutely.
But if you're listening, DJ and all those people who are involved in any kind of ministry, we love you. We appreciate you. And we're so glad, even as listeners of this podcast, we appreciate you.
Absolutely, guys. Love you. See you tomorrow.
See ya.